Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we have a long-awaited video. I'm sitting down with my husband and we are just telling you guys our story. It's funny because I don't feel like this big influencer that everybody wants to hear our story, but the people that do follow along on Instagram for nutrition tips, for healthy lifestyle, conversations, how to build healthy habits, I mean, they're curious and I get it. I'm always curious no matter why I follow anybody. I also feel like in some ways, this is something that I really like talking about because there was no one to talk to me about it, or no one that was ever in the same situation that I knew in my family or my friends unit to talk to when I went into the relationship that I went into, which basically was being with somebody who was of a different faith than me and my family, and a different culture than me and my family, which was really hard for me and my family, and probably him as well and his own family. So there was a lot of learning, a lot of growing, and there is a story to tell. And I just feel like sometimes sharing stories helps other people to know how to not feel alone and how to navigate their own lives. So that's why we are here sharing today. It's never just to share, almost always to try to add value, help someone else. And yeah, sometimes we're just curious. So sometimes we do just share to share. So the way we're gonna do this really quick is I'm gonna tell the story from my perspective. David's gonna hop in and tell it from his. And then over the last several months, from when we got engaged to when we got married, I've had questions in question boxes and DMs for the last like 6 to 9 months. So I've accumulated lots of those. We'll answer some of those at the end, okay? Actually, wait. David, I'm not sure if I want to tell the story from my perspective by myself. Okay. Are you nervous?
Maybe I've never been in like a video or anything.
Do you see how we sat down at the same time?
Yeah, the green dot. Is it?
This is David. This is my husband.
Hi, everyone.
David, I feel like sometimes don't see like the whole half of my life where everybody's asking questions about us and what they want to know and why they want to know it. So this is interesting because I feel like really called to make this video and like I have to, but you probably just feel like we're making a YouTube video for the sake of it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to see this half of it and participate because, you know, I am not involved too much on social media. So it'll be good to kind of dip my toe into whatever you do.
Yeah, it's cool. My most well-engaged content is the content that David's in, so clearly the internet loves them. Okay, so right off the bat, I want to get into kind of telling our story from the very, very beginning. So I guess this would be like how we met. You want to start?
Yeah. Met at a boxing gym. I was home from college for a semester in the summer, or in the spring actually, because I had graduated a semester early. I picked up boxing, was going to the gym a lot, and because it was in the spring and like I had nothing to do, I was just back home living with my parents. So I'd be going to the gym at times where like no one else was really in the gym, but Lena would be in the gym. And like, I don't know, I saw her one time, like she was cute, and just kind of chatted casually sometimes. And then I eventually asked for her number, and then it just kind of went on from there.
I mean, that's our story. That's where we met. I was working at the boxing gym and I was there every single day because I worked there and I closed every day at 9 o'clock. And David was there every day because he worked out every day. So I know that there's gonna be questions from the people who are like Muslim and grew up in the Arab households and all that stuff. I gave him my phone number. And it's funny because right before, I grew up in the States. I talked to kids in school, whatever. But right before I met him, I was like, I'm never talking to anybody that's not Muslim ever again. Like from here on out, I'm only gonna talk to a Muslim person because I want the relationship to work and it's gonna be hard to have anything else. But when I met David, I was like, heck, whatever. Like, I'll just give it my phone number. It's not gonna go anywhere anyways. Saying no when someone asks for your phone number is always so awkward and weird. I'm gonna see this guy every single day. Like, I'll just give him my phone number. So I did.
Yeah. That's how you want to frame it, sure.
No, that's what happened.
Because it was awkward not to.
No, it would have been awkward not to. I mean, I think I wanted to too.
Yeah.
Like when David first signed up for the gym, I was like, yeah, he's cute. My type, ideally. It was really nice when he asked for my phone number. I felt very validated. Okay. But yeah, I was like, I'm never giving my number or going on a date with anybody that's not Muslim again. I don't know why I did. I still to this day don't know why I did. Like, what was it? I think that's like kind of the theme of our whole relationship, is just like, it was a lot of moments that was just like, I don't know why I'm working so hard to make this work, or like, I don't know why I'm giving this a shot, but I am.
Yeah, a lot. But then, you know, each time that happened, I feel like it's cliche to say, but we really did grow closer. It might not have been like closer immediately after, but I think like looking back months after, you kind of see that while we had this big thing happen, or like we kind of grew a little bit distant, but like we're still talking and we're going forward, and like we're becoming better together, and we're like recognizing each other's thoughts and things like that. So I think that was kind of when it hit me that I think we work well together.
We made like conscious choices every single time to like take it to the next step, to spend another year together, you know, which I feel like is the reason why, you know, we're here today, more because of like conscious active decisions versus like falling deeper in love, which is maybe not too romantic, but
Yeah, maybe for you is like more conscious active decisions, but for me, like, I don't know, it's just kind of taking it as it came. And then, you know, if you start missing them, or you feel like, oh, you know what, the time that we spend together is good, then that's kind of when you act on it. Like, it wasn't really like conscious, kind of like spontaneous. But both. It was both.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of how we met. And then, yeah, over the next like 2 years, we just spent getting to know each other. I wouldn't say we ever got super serious over those 2 years.
Not super serious.
Not super serious, yeah. We just got to know each other. You know, he was Catholic, I was Muslim. My family didn't want to meet anybody that wasn't Muslim, so I never introduced him to my family in those 2 years. I did tell my mom about him. She wasn't happy, but I told her because it had been 2 years at that point, so I was like, I should probably tell her. But it never went anywhere. I mean, she was just waiting for it to be over. I had met his family pretty casually. It was normal. And then by like year 2.5, year 3, David was like, if I'm gonna be talking to you, you better introduce me to your family.
Yeah. Because that's part of it. Like, you know, to love you fully, it's like to love your family too. So that was a big part for me, because I couldn't jump into anything just willy-nilly, like not knowing what's on the other side. And you know, I know in Islam dating is kind of frowned upon. I do think it's good to really know the person, see them in many different situations, really know their family, see their family in different situations, because then you feel confident in the decision that you're making with that person to be with them for the rest of your life. And then also you just understand their family. You know, there's no questions that you have like going into something that's a lifelong commitment. So I think it's important to really like understand those things beforehand. Yeah. But on her side of the family, you know, it's a little bit not part of the norm for that kind of stuff to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I'm grateful that my family is open-minded and that they did sit down with him before we had decided that we wanted to be engaged. And before, I feel like a lot of times you introduce, in our culture and in our religion, you introduce someone to your family when you want to be engaged. David was like, I'm not even saying that word until I meet them and talk to them, which makes sense. But it was, I don't know how I got my family to sit down with him before he was Muslim, or before he had said, like, I want to spend my life with her. But he did, somehow we did. And that's where kind of like people would say, like, I don't want to say a bad word. People would say, like, shit hit the fan. I think it was for me. That's where things hit the fan for me. I was like, this is, at this point, we're putting in everything. I was drained emotionally from, because David had no plans of converting at the time. So I didn't even know what I was trying to convince my family of. I mean, they were not going to be okay.
Yeah. For context, it was like the first time meeting her family. It was nice to like meet them, and you know, we just kind of exchanged a few words and stuff, but a majority of us meeting was sitting down and talking about me converting to Islam. And at the time, it really wasn't something that I was like prepared for, and it wasn't something that I was considering. But that's kind of how the first meeting with her family went. And then kind of when Lena and I touched base after that first family meeting, there was kind of the uncertain feeling of if I would convert, and if so, when. But also there's me not wanting to, or at least like nowhere in the near future. So that's kind of where I think a lot of the stress came for Lena and myself.
Yeah, because it was like you're fighting for something that, like, first of all, like me, I was like halfway in, but like also doubting, like, I don't know, is it gonna work if we're not the same religion? You know what I mean? Like on the outside, I'm fighting for it, like regardless of what faith he is or what faith I am, like as long as we both practice and we believe in one God and whatever, like why not? So I was like fighting for that on the outside, but on the inside, I mean, I was like, I have no idea. Like they're probably right. I don't know. We don't know a lot of Muslims and Christians that get married. Like someone always converts. A lot of doubt, but then a lot of like outward like begging and fighting, which David didn't see that part because that was just like, he heard about it all the time, but he didn't see it because that was just me and conversation with me and my family. Everybody was super kind to him. Anyways, like Nasib, which in, you know, we call in Arabic is like your fate. Nasib is Nasib. I still don't know till this day what changed in you to come to your own decision to convert.
Yeah, I would say a couple of things. First one was understanding the religion. You know, and this is even before Lena and I ever really even thought about getting engaged. Probably back when we first met, you know, going back to like the boxing gym days, even before I had met her family. Like me personally, like I always loved talking about religion and theories and philosophy. So talking about like my beliefs and talking about her beliefs, like it really made me understand that there's not much different. And it really helped me understand what Islam is about and where her family was coming from. So I would say that's reason number one on why I did kind of consider converting, because after learning more about Islam, I did feel like my intuition and my own personal thoughts did align with the religion. Next reason was probably her family. They were nothing but kind to me, and I think seeing that religion was such an important thing for them means that they value the religion. And you know, if you're going to be following a religion, like I would hope you value it. So having the family putting that as like the pedestal, like, hey, we want this to be a part of our family for generations to come, I think that was really great. And they're willing to sit down and answer any questions I had about Muhammad, answer any questions I had about the prayers, the Quran, anything about the religion. You know, they're always just happy to answer my questions and talk with me about it. And then finally, just like, I wanted to be with Lena. You know, like, it's probably not good to say like, oh, I converted to be with Lena, but at the end of the day, like, that's what it was. Realized that, yeah, I do want to be with Lena for the rest of my life. And if that's the case, then to make her life easy and to kind of come together as a unit, me and you, then just converting is the solution there.
I don't think I ever heard that.
Yeah,
That's really cute. It was just like slowly you were like, but what if I did? And then you would ask questions. A really big, you know, people always ask me in DMs, like, basically, how did you get him to convert? And I really didn't get him to convert. He did his own research. He watched a lot of YouTube videos, and we had, every time he had a question, we discussed it. And I think at the beginning, a lot of like Muslim girls get really defensive when a guy asks questions about the religion, like, oh, well, where does Jesus fit in? And the girl is like, like gets really defensive. I know I did. I got really defensive, and I would like get argumentative. I had to like catch myself and pull back on that and just remember that this is an open discussion and he's just curious, you know, and he's just asking questions. I also just want to like mention my family really quickly, because I want, like, I know that some people who aren't Muslim are watching this as well. They don't just want him to be Muslim, or want the person any of us are with to be Muslim just for the sake of it. Like, it really is because they value their religion. You mentioned that, but because they love their faith, and I do too, right? But there's one reason that we believe we're put on this earth, and it's to serve God and to get into heaven in the afterlife. And if that's our one purpose, then every action you do should support that. And that would also mean growing your family amongst, in the same faith or in the same set of beliefs. So that's where that comes from, just for a little bit of understanding there. I feel like I just wanted to clarify.
I also think they wanted me to convert because they truly thought it's in my best interest to convert.
That's true.
Like, I feel like yes, I was introduced to them through Lena, but I feel like even if I wasn't to be like Lena's potential partner or something, like they would want me to be Muslim because they think like that's good for me. That would set me up for success, help me find peace in myself, bring me closer to God. Yeah, they were like watching out for me and Lena because, that's what they believe.
Yeah.
Is that's what's best for us as humans.
And that is, I know, unique to my family. Like, I see your guys' DMs, I have conversations with you. I know that's unique to my family and to some other families, but not to all. And alhamdulillah, like I'm very grateful to have the family I have. I get a lot of questions all the time about how they felt about me marrying a non-Arab. They don't care. As long as I'm married to a good person. Like, race means nothing. Where a person is physically from does not matter. But their faith matters, their beliefs matters, their values matter, who they are matters, how they treat, the people in our family matters. So alhamdulillah, I'm really, really grateful to have a very open-minded family. And I didn't grow up as a perfect kid. I probably gave my mom the hardest time. So I think for me personally, they were expecting something like this from me. And they were prepared mentally for that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna open up the Q&As now just to make sure we answered everything.
Also,
yeah,
sorry, if you think I look Muslim, say it in the comments.
Arab.
Because, Arab. I mean, I've been asked if I was like Muslim.
Yeah. People always ask me this too. How did we know? How did I know I wanted to marry at the time you were my fiance when I got asked this? I didn't know up until he decided he wanted to convert. I mean, I knew I wanted to marry him before that, but I didn't know if it was going to happen or anything. I remember when I knew. This is way before that. And it was one time when I was just like, why are we even trying? Why are we doing this? Like, it'd be easier to break up. And you were like, easier to break up? Like, but we're not doing that. Like, so what are we going to do? It was that day.
I honestly don't remember that conversation.
I remember that conversation.
But, yeah, I guess.
And I was like, wait, you actually want to work on this with me? I knew. Do you know when you knew?
Yeah, I've actually never told you. But I think, we were already talking about like getting engaged and stuff. But really for me, like, I think the day that I knew, it was when you came over to my family's house. You had made dinner and it was like Mediterranean food. And like, I don't know, just seeing her in my house with my family, like having made the amazing food and stuff, it's just like, why would I not want this to be my wife? Like, that'd just be dumb of me to like not have her be my wife, because like she's great with my family. Like, the food is just amazing, and it's like, what else can I ask for? And this is all after like me talking with her, like knowing what she stands for, knowing like how she works through things, knowing how she thinks about things. This is after like meeting her family and everything. So like that day I was just like all right, like if not now, then when?
They say like the way to a man's heart is through like cooking. I didn't know it was true.
It wasn't the food itself.
I'm just kidding. How are we adjusting to married life?
Like I am a person that enjoys like just like being alone and not talking to anyone, at least for like a couple hours a day. And I also am someone who enjoys like getting in my video games every day and stuff like that. I also like to do things my way, and like everything is like really structured. So all three of those things being said, it's like, number one, I'm adjusting by learning that like even if we're like quiet, if we're here like together, like in the same room, we're like on the couch together, like that's still okay. Like it's still counting as alone time for me at this point now, after kind of adjusting to that. Another way I'm adjusting, the video games that I mentioned, just like I'm realizing like I can't just do it every day. Like, yeah, it's fun and stuff, but instead of an hour 30 of video games, like it's nice to do an hour 30, like 30 minutes walking and then 30 minutes talking and then another 30 minutes doing whatever we want. Like just substituting that time, not every day because like I still do get in some gaming time, but that it has kind of been substituted some days for just like time spent together.
Yeah.
Oh no, the routine thing, the routine.
Oh.
Yeah. That one, the routine thing, okay, so.
I let you have a routine.
Yeah, no, but just like, it's not even like routine, it's just like, I remember when we first moved in, Lena was like upset that I wasn't like closing like the drawers or something of everything I opened. And like, to me, that's like, okay. And like, she would get mad about it. And like, that's not part of my routine to not close them, but it's also like, you know, I've operated one way my entire life and like not even thought about some of these things. And then all of a sudden, like I'm having someone tell me that like, oh, you're doing it wrong or stuff like that.
How disrespectful of me.
Yeah.
No, okay, hold on. Let me.
Like, go ahead.
I wasn't mad that he wasn't closing anything, okay? Literally nothing. It's that it was like that on top of everything else that he wasn't doing.
On top of me just being in my routine.
Now
like,
he does
getting
a lot.
Up at a late, like getting up at a late hour, which to me is a good hour. For her, it's late. So like, I think you didn't like getting up and like being alone. And then also like I
don't mind getting up and being alone for an hour, but you know, hour 4, you get a little lonely. Okay.
But I also, part of my routine is like staying up late, getting up late. I think you're on the earlier side of things where you go to bed early. So like sometimes it was like getting to the point where like she would be in bed for like a couple hours, then I would go into bed like when she was kind of asleep. Then she would wake up like an hour or two before me and like have that time. And then like I had like work on top of that. Sometimes it'd be a busy day.
Or like the
then
gym.
I would go to the gym right after that. So like we weren't really, and then like sometimes like I'd play my video game too. So it's like, it wasn't even like we weren't trying to make an effort. It's just like I realized that the routine that I had living on my own and doing the things that like I enjoyed doing by myself, like it just allows for no time to like connect as a couple. So that kind of goes back to my first point saying like some things just kind of got to get cut out of your normal routine to like get some quality time together.
Yeah. And the adjustment period was really hard for us. And I know some people like they get married and it's like good right off the bat. I think for me it was really hard right off the bat.
Yeah, but it hasn't even been that long since we've moved in. So
no, but the
like,
first
it was
month,
hard. It was like quick but hard, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it was like the first 4 weeks where they felt long and they felt hard, and then it was incrementally better from that point forward. I'd say, right? Yeah, and now it's really just flexibility on both routines changing, and like building one together really versus like having separate ones. I think it was really hard at the beginning. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think some people, you think everybody has like a great beginning, but I think it's from 2 very routine people with 2 very different routines. It was really hard for me. And and as much as I thought I was a really good communicator, I wasn't in the first month. Like I just didn't want to talk about anything. I was just not okay.
Routine and communication. That's the answer for adjusting.
The last question is, what does David do for a living?
For a living, I do technology consulting, like data strategy stuff. What that entails is, because, you know, if anyone knows the world of consulting, like it covers so many different aspects. And, you know, I feel like I'm part of the group that constantly says like, oh, like it's hard to describe what I do. But it's essentially like a doctor's for businesses. You know, it's like they bring you in, you tell them, hey, your business would be better or more efficient if you did X, Y, and Z with your data, or if you used like this technology instead of this. And then you really just like understand their problems and then communicate with all their different teams and then just work with the teams to implement the better ways of working. So yeah, technology consulting is what I do for a living.
I feel like that answers all questions about our story and how we got to where we are today. Mm-hmm. But if there's any lingering ones, ask them in the comments.
Yeah, no, this is a fun first video. I'm excited to see if there are any comments that, any follow-up questions or just anything in general. Like, I love kind of going on her videos and like just seeing comments, what people say, because, I hardly have a presence on social media. So like reading comments that are like maybe about me, it's like, I just think it's interesting because like, oh, like I have no idea who you are. You have no idea who I am. And it's just cool.
All right, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Stick around always on this channel for everything healthy lifestyle, regular lifestyle, nutrition, health, fun, all that stuff. All right, like, subscribe, share
He's
this
awesome.
out with someone who can help you, for someone who it can help, whatever. All
Bye,
right,
guys.
bye, guys. See you in the next one.